Hello everyone, at 1995 here in the video games and fanfiction plot with a new story for you all. It is called His Queen. If you guys don't know, it's another Transformers fanfiction, and I do hope you enjoy this story. And remember, I do not own the Transformers Prime series or this story. I give full credit to its author Syzzy WinterFalls 13 on Quotev. Now on to the story. The Maze. Molly's POV. Finally, I think, as I approach the Jasper Maze. It is made of mostly brick, and half of it is covered in overgrown thorn bushes, poison ivy, and weeds. At the end it leads off into the train yard, where the abandoned cargo crates rust over. Time skip. Dodo. What? Who would be calling me? Is Logan home? I take my phone out of my pocket, and answer it, expecting Logan to be on the other line. Hello? Molly. You're alright. Maiko. I take a deep breath, realizing who just called me, and replied. Maiko, funny hearing you calling me. I saw you 30 minutes ago on a motorcycle. Who was the boy in front of you? Your new boyfriend? Wow, Molly, just ... wow. Actually, that was Jack Darby, so gross. But that's not why I called you. I roll my eyes, expecting to get asked to the monster truck rally again. Maiko, I said I can't go. And if you can't respect that I have a life outside of us hanging out in school, then I guess we shouldn't hang out any. Molly, get out of the maze now. Maiko interrupted and yelled into her phone. My eyes widen at her sudden outburst. Maiko, you sound worried, what's wrong? I ask. I don't hear Maiko reply after a few seconds, but shortly after she responds, Molly, just get out, now. Suddenly, a large tremor goes through the ground, causing me to drop my phone, and I hear footsteps. Heavy footsteps. Coming from behind me. I turn around. Nothing. I spin in a circle. Nothing. I'm in the middle of a long corridor with thistle-covered brick on either side of me. I hesitantly walk forward, taking very light steps. I pull my backpack closer, making me feel somewhat comforted. Shivers run down my spine, as I feel the dark engulf me. You may think that a place like Nevada would be always hot and dry. However, when the sun sets, the desert turns chilly. Which I don't mind. I don't mind how dark it is either. The stars here always show when it isn't cloudy, so there is still light. It's what is in the dark that frightens me. I know to respect all the creatures of the night, though they would never imagine to attack me, but you can never tell reality from shadow in a place like the maze, which disturbs me greatly. I feel the heavy footsteps, louder, harder, closer. What is that? There aren't any drakes that large for miles. I quicken my pace, but the footsteps fall harder, and sounds like they're right behind me. This is risky. I think out loud, and turn my head. Optimus Prime's POV. We approached the coordinates where the Decepticons were heading, which was, like the children said, a maze. It looked old and worn down, bricks falling out of cement, and covered in a considerably thick layer of vegetation. We transform and start entering the facility. Be on the lookout for the human and the Decepticons. I order as we come across a series of turns. The others nod, and pull out their weapons. What is so important about this human that made the Decepticons target her? I think, as my processor tries to understand this puzzling action. The walls of the maze are surprisingly tall for a human structure meant for humans, and very puzzling. One left turn, a crossroad, few dead ends, and we were right back where we were 5 minutes ago. The walls are impossible to look over at an Earthling's height, so I doubt the human is able to see over the walls. Optimus, there is a signal coming from your left, most likely a Decepticon. Ratchet, I begin to speak over the comlink. How many signals are there? I ask, for if we were outnumbered, the human would be in the Decepticon's possession. Optimus. I look over to see the bulkhead staring at a wall along the path. Yes, bulkhead? I asked the former Ricker. How are we supposed to get to the human if we can't even solve? Bulkhead broke off as we all jumped to the sound of the women screaming. I think we found our human. Bumbly word. I nod, and it seems the Decepticons found her too. We started to rush to where we heard the scream, but before we could reach the path that turned into the center, a young lady hurdled the wall and fell to the ground, clutching her side as she rolled. When I turned, I saw a large, dark robot with a glowing red triangle for a face behind me. Before I could process what was happening, the robot's hand went to grab me. I screeched loudly, letting the trapped air force its way up my throat. The scrap heap seemed fazed by my loud cry for help, and stumbled back. I barely had time to think before my instincts had me sprinting towards the nearest wall. Tears flew off my face from the cold rush of wind as I scrambled to get a good grip on the clay beneath my sneakers. My body begs to be given the chance to shift, allowing myself to become more capable of outrunning this thing. But my brain knows better. I can't give my legs a break, and I can't use my cycle. The wall comes into sight. My heartbeat pounding in my ears, my chest screaming for air as I make rushed breaths. If I can get over the wall, I can put a couple seconds between me and the robot. The wall, covered in thorn bushes, is too vertical to scale. Only one thing to do. The robot gets closer with every stride. Heavy footsteps quicken, and my inhuman speed accelerates, burning my calves, and tearing up my toes. Almost there, I think, in between pants. The wall gets closer. I have to make the jump. 14 feet of brick and thorns, I would be torn to shreds if I fail. I bend my knees, and sprint on my toes, ready to make the hurdle and reach security. The ground beneath me trembles as the thing approaches, or it's just me shaking. Fleeting, blurry images of the walls go by me, as I burst into the air, and plummet to the ground on the other side, feeling the adrenaline spike in my veins. I crash painfully on my side, and roll over, clutching my ribcage as though it was broken. I hear the machine freeze. I turn back to the wall I just hurdled and scramble to my feet, wheezing and panting from the pain in my chest. I start dash away from the wall as fast as I could, still looking at the wall. I suddenly hit something hard. The clang of metal echoes down the paths and turn my head, seeing 4 more robots, staring at me, the tallest most intently. I skid to a halt, having to crane my head to look at the face of the one I hit. I panic, knowing that any one of these could squish me. Nope, 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 so much nope. I yell as I cross the distance from me to the other wall in a matter of 3 strides, and start climbing the wall of thorns, wincing and yelping in pain as the thorns embed themselves into the palms of my hands and fingers, causing my eyes to tear up. "Wait, miss," was all the tall one got to say before 2 more clones of the one chasing me came running down the path to the right. "It's fight or flight now, Molly," my conscience says. "Yeah, well, flight is sorta impossible with the rib injury," voice. I yell to myself, and jump down into the neighboring path, successfully landing on my feet. "Gah!" I scream as a jolt of pain comes up my left side, right along my scars. "Frick," I barely choke out. The sounds of guns firing reach my ears, realizing what exactly is going on. They are fighting. Over me. I think as I start to take indirect turns. Fighting is starting to sound like a good idea right about now. "Autobots," I yell, "protect the human." The arriving Decepticons fire their weapons at us, allowing the human to escape. I look over to the others who have started firing back. The only way to make sure the human is safe is if we move, I plan as I start firing at the cons as well. "RC, bulkhead, take the path that we came from. Bumblebee, you and I will keep following this one. Find the girl at all cost," I order to the team, splitting up to cover more ground, getting one last shot at a vehicle before we head forwards. Bumblebee and I ran through the paths, taking every sharp turn and dead end into account. How could she have gotten away so quick? The walls are taller than any human, and humans aren't that fast. Bumblebee beeps questioningly. However she was able to escape is beyond my understanding, I replied, wondering, though whatever the Decepticons require from her could be hazardous to her health. "We must find the female before the Decepticons reach her." B nods, agreeing. We follow the path till we hit a split in the path. Looking both left and right, I decide it would be best if we split up. Bumblebee, take the trail to the left. I will take the one on the right. We go our separate ways, and I'm left alone in the dark. My footsteps echo down the walls, and bounce back loudly to my audio receptors. If the human is injured, it would be even more troubling to get her to trust us. I think with a sigh. Humans are so complicated. Running hurts. Breathing hurts. Thinking hurts. I can't turn back. The train yard is my only chance of escape. The crates could hide me. I run down the narrow trail, tripping over vines and roots. Panting, my heart racing. The walls blurred, my head losing oxygen, my eyes burning from the wind slashing my face. The labyrinth, as I knew for some time, has drove men crazy. The graffiti hidden beneath the vines showed it. Suicide was common. It just took some time for most. I might not get out alive. And as my legs burn with overuse, and my throat, cold and dry, won't take in any air, the path came to an end. And the brick, old and worn down, opened to one of the most damaged paths. By the soles, finally. I pant, and jumped through the crumbly hole in the brick, and darted to where I could find some sanctuary. For the moment. My hands, bleeding from the thorns and blisters, drag on the uncovered walls. It was quite making me feel uneasy. Well, the train yard shouldn't be that far away at least. If I can get there before those machines can get me, I should be home free. I think, grinning, walking away from the rest of the maze. The path crossed another, and I took the one leading right, following the scent of the metal from the rusted iron and steel. The storage crates should appear soon. Then, I will be sitting by my pool, drinking a nice shot of Adreno and throwing tennis balls at the neighbors. I say, being cocky and hopeful at the same time. You know, a song wouldn't hurt right about now, would it? I think, wanting to make this situation a little less grim. In the morning light, let my roots take flight. Watch me from above like a vicious dove. They don't see me come, who can blame them? They never seem to catch my eye, but I never wondered why. I won't fall asleep, I won't fall asleep. The walls seem to get more and more worn down the farther I go. Why would humans make this so puzzling? I wonder. I have already been through multiple dead ends and paths that go to the same place where I cross them. Optimus, RC said urgently from the comm link. Yes, RC? The human is injured. I've crossed a trail of blood, small specks, nothing serious I believe. But when I tried to follow them, the blood just stopped. And we tried so hard to not let her get injured. I think in reply the human must be trying to find an exit. If she gets out, she might be able to escape into the forest or back into the city. RC goes off the comm, and I continue to walk down a severely damaged path. Vegetation seemed to grow much faster down these paths than the ones near the beginning. What could cause this maze to close down? I think, my processor's turning. My audio receptors pick up something muffled. Is that singing? The human must be around here somewhere. I think, listening to the words of the song. Hey yeah, don't let him know we're coming. Hey yeah, tiptoe higher. Take some time to simmer down, keep your head down low. Hey yeah, tiptoe higher. Well, whoever is singing is phenomenal. The voice seems to be getting closer each verse. I think as I speed up my walking, heading towards the owner of the, admittedly, beautiful voice. I turn the corner, and see the female human walking past the path I just go on. My optics widen and I freeze where I was standing. I never got a good, detailed look at her when she ran into my foot and climbed the wall. She seems calmer. From your slanted view, see the morning dew. She keeps on walking down the path, not noticing me at all. I stare at her until she was out of sight, and follow behind her, trying to be as silent as possible. She doesn't seem injured in any way. I think. Sink into the soil, watch the water boy. Her singing stops abruptly, and so does her footsteps. Uh-oh. She snaps her head towards me, eyes glowing bright green in the dark, and growls. Not the usual growl humans make when upset, but an inhuman growl, similar to a wild earth creature. The female backs up, and even though she is acting like a fighter, I see something else. She's terrified. The robot's surprised look could tell me that he didn't think a human could make that kind of sound. Well, guess what, Leech? I'm not human, I think, and run to the final exit, towards the train yard. My veins are rushed with adrenaline, and my legs feel like they were made of jelly. The robot tries to yell, but a blast goes over his shoulder, and lands next to my feet. I turn around and see the a-holes that tried to chase me earlier. God slang it, I think in my head, and dash off, hearing the robot that was behind me yell after my running form. I can barely hear over the gunshots though. My heart thuds in my chest, and my bruised rib feels like I just crossed the rift. My eyes tear up again, and the chip at the nape of my neck burns. You know what? I shout, screw this, and I rushed back over to the fight, releasing the stress on my chip, and allowed my armor to sprout from the chip and cover my body. I unlock my discs from the back of my armor and throw them towards the purple triplets. The discs cut across their helmets, and I run back to the train yard, pulling back the nanotech armor into the base before the taller one notices what happened. The train yard entrance seems so close, but the walls shake with each step the robots take. Running out of the maze, I turn a crate and fall. Scrambling back up, I sprint into a crate, and hide. My heart is pounding, my lungs begging for air. My hands shake from the adrenaline rush, and I hear the heavy, large footsteps charge into the abandoned loading station, and I hold my breath, lungs already burning. I thought she ran in here? I heard a mechanical voice yell. She did, scrap heap. Said another loudly. The owners of the voices run off, frantically searching for me. I feel lightheaded, and I finally catch my breath, releasing the trapped oxygen in a loud outburst. Why me? I pant out, tears streaming down my face, ice crawling up the walls. In a hopeful dash of luck, I crawl outside of the crate, and run through the gaps between the crates. If I can get out alive, I am never coming back here again. I sighed at the thought. My back leans against the wall, my face drenched in sweat. Logan, I say to no one, I'm going to kill you when you get home, and I'm going to hang you by your guts on the tree outside Xavier's front door to laugh at. The crate time between is thrown off to the side, and the purple clone is right there. Too loud? I ask myself. The clawed monster reaches out for me. It grabs me tightly, squeezing the soul out of me, and I screech bloody murder. Good evening, Your Highness, I hear a voice mock, and I am dropped to the ground, hard. I chase after the Decepticons that ran after the human. They can't reach her. I think in anger. Autobots, I yell through the comm link, the Decepticons are in pursuit of the human. Go towards the train yard, south of the entrance. I raise my guns and start firing energon, hoping that one hits the drones. I enter the train yard, and search for any traces of the human, when I hear a screech. The human. I think frantically, running towards where the voice was heard, and see a vehicon with the human in his grasp. My optics narrow at the sight, and I shoot the con, releasing the human from its grasp. The human falls to the ground before I can reach her. Her brown hair falls around her face, as she slowly pulls herself up, grasping her left side that is drenched in a black liquid. She pulls herself to her feet, leaning against a crate, bag in hand. I rush over to her, and carefully pick her up. Her breathing hitches at my action, and I try my best to keep her side untouched. I pull her up to my face, inspecting her for any major injuries besides her side. She looks up to me, fear and pain in her bright green eyes, and she falls unconscious, hair framing her face as she falls onto the my servo. Two more cons dart forward, guns charged and at the ready. Scrap, I whisper. I run the other way, shielding the female away from any shots. I skid to a halt, facing a blocked path. I turn around, hearing the guns of the vehicons charge. I pull the girl closer to my spark chamber. Autobots, I need backup. I shout into my comm device. Coming through, shouted Bulkhead, and he smashed the Decepticons into the crates on the sides of us. You called? Bulkhead jokes. RC and Bumblebee rush in, with their guns pointed in all directions. They look up to me, and transform their weapons back into their servos. So RC starts, we got another human to look after? I look over to her and back at the girl, thinking she isn't an ordinary human. I put my digit to my comm piece, and contacted Ratchet. Ratchet, send a ground bridge to our location, and hurry. The human needs medical attention. I hear a gasp from the other line, and assumed it was the other human female. Right away, but Optimus. Ratchet says this is a great risk. Don't even lie to yourself. I sigh, noting what he said. The ground bridge appeared, and I heard though, not even transforming into vehicle form. Well, that's the ending of that chapter. I do hope you enjoy this video. If you like to see more, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment down below. Until next time.